well, okay. Sorry, it's a little dark in here because I don't have the best lighting in this room, especially at night. And I'm winding down for today. I did get the, this is law enforcement's policy and procedures for reports of missing and abducted children. And so we've been kind of honing in on two aspects here over the last week, and that's really Christopher Proudfoot and, of course, the forensics on the home. We are covering the case of Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from inside of his home, a locked home. His mother said he went to bed at 9 p.m., and when she awoke at 6 a.m. to get him up for school, he was gone. She checked the house. All windows and doors were locked. That's according to her own statement. Case felt right for many of us from the very, very, very beginning. We've been breaking this entire case down as I see it. I'm showing all the receipts that lead me to where I'm at and why I feel the way I feel, from the behaviors of Chris and Katie up front telling their stories, the multiple changes in their stories. We've been honing in on this channel from 9 p.m. on February 25th to 7 a.m. on February 26th. And now we're coming full circle where we have a good idea that some phenomenon went on inside the house and it caused Katie to call Chris. There were some light phenomenons in Sebastian's room where the switch went on, switch went off, and then 11:30, it went off for the last time. There was a figure going through the back of the room. Lights went off. The whole house went dark. A little while later, you see a light phenomenon on the back going to an unidentified car. We learned the next day that the tracking of the dog seemed to be in the same path and pattern as the flashlight video we saw. So it's leading us to believe that something did happen to Sebastian and he was removed from that home that night. However, it is my belief he wasn't removed willingly. And so we've been looking at everything and everyone. And, long story short, we're here where we are today. And we realized that Katie truly was home alone with her son. And she would have been the only one that would have had motive, means, and opportunity to do anything with her son. The idea that she called her husband at 9:43 at night indicates to me, with everything going on almost an oh shit factor. And I do believe that Chris would have made his way back to Hendersonville from Memphis that evening to help his wife with whatever problem that she had. So we're honing in on Chris, and we're looking and analyzing every little thing when it comes to Chris. And one of the things that bothered me the most was the 5:15 arrival start at his job. We can't explain it. It came from one person. I don't know how they corroborated it. And at the end of the day, that is putting a monkey wrench in literally everything. I did receive by email a map. I have to replicate it. I have to replicate it. I don't know if I'm probably going to take the back screen off, which I don't mind. Well, I'll just do it like this because it's going to have to be replicated anyway. So this is the trip that I was provided. This is the trip that cuts the time into 2 hours and 7 minutes. Now, again, I have to replicate this trip. If I can replicate this trip, we've got a winner chicken dinner. So I've got the map, what it says. Now I've just got to recreate it. And once I recreate it, we're good to go. This was something that I thought was interesting. This came from somebody, I don't need to say their name, but it says, thanks for putting time and effort into this case. I hope this information helps you. I had been in someone's channel back over a month ago, and the creator was talking about Chris Proudfoot may be working Sunday night. This all happened, and a guy in the chat had said they don't work nights at the construction site. CP he said he was there Monday morning. CP was at the job site and said CP started at 7 a.m. that Monday morning, and he wasn't even there long enough to that around 8:15 a.m. CP was told to leave work because of his attitude, and said he was acting very mad that day. So boss the boss man told him to leave because he had an attitude, and everybody he had come in with an attitude with everybody he'd come in contact with. Excuse me, sorry about that. It would make sense, because if he didn't get any sleep, or it would make sense if he didn't get any sleep that night. Everything happened. I know if I don't have the proper sleep in the same way, I get what she's trying to say. So I think it's that the pressure of whatever happened the night before also could describe a really bad attitude. Remember, Don Wells was also seen sulking in a bathtub the day before Summer Wells disappeared. But it seems like we have several people saying that he started work at 7. So again, it comes back to my 5:15. That 5:15 rubs me the wrong way, and I have no way of corroborating it. So we've been trying to do that as much as possible. We did have somebody send us some videos today as they were driving by St. Jude's. Not today. They sent them to us. Was it last night or this morning? I can't remember. But somebody sent me, some videos. And one was like from morning, afternoon, and then evening. This person drives by St. Jude's Hospital several times a day, and was able to catch it this morning around 7:41 is when the crane started moving. So it does imply that they do get there around 7, because you have to climb those towers to get to the crane at the top. And so it could take you a while to get up there. Trust me, it's a hike. It's a hike. So then, one of the other things that has really bothered me about this entire case is the lack of forensics. But I keep wondering, did they do forensics? I'm not sure. And so we're starting to I'm not ready to go with a full-fledged forensics conversation just yet. But we are starting to perk curiosities where people are starting to, review the policies in place for our missing children. And there were some things that I thought were fairly interesting. And I don't know if it's on here. Yes, I think it is in here in this one. I got to find it though. But there's one thing that I wanted to read to you guys that I read that somebody had sent to me out of here. Or maybe it was out of the law. But one of the things that they are supposed to do is secure the bedroom. Secure the bedroom and do all types of different testing in there, including forensics. And we have been told that there was none done. And this should have been done way at the very, 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 very beginning. There are several things that I can say that are in here that I don't like, and I think weren't followed by Henderson County Police Department or TBI for that matter. So we're going to be breaking that down on another show tomorrow night around 8 o'clock to cover that. So I hope you're all here. That'll be interesting, and we'll get some perspectives. The fact that a child was removed from the home, something happens inside, and removed via garage, they are hiding a whole lot. Richard, I agree with you 100%. They absolutely are. Lori says, hello, Betty. Chad, I've missed the replays lately because of my elderly mom not doing well. Oh, I'm sorry. So many people are going through so much right now. I know a lot of my mods, one of my mods is taking care of very sick twins. I'm hoping they're doing better now, but they were very sick for a significant amount of time. One of my mods just had back surgery. Another one's, dealing with a sister that's struggling, and just a lot. And it seems like there's a lot of stuff. So hopefully everybody says a prayer for one another tonight. We could all use an extra prayer. What are the Proudfoots hiding now? Kat, the answer is everything. They're hiding everything. Everything possible that you can hide, they are hiding. They're lying about flipping everything. That's what it is. And hey, Elfig, it's nice to see you, my love. So it's hiding there. But I figured I found a fun fact clip art with a bullhorn. So I had to use it. I have to at least use it once. Because that's her saying, right? Fun fact. Fun fact is I made my son breakfast. Well, fun fact is you're supposed to, lady. It's like, you want a pat on the back? Jeez Louise. Hello, everyone. I can finally return my normal routines. We returned home from Panama City Beach this afternoon. Oh, you were close. It's up in the Panhandle. Well, I mean, that's not really close, but it's still in Florida. It's closer than usual. Weird, too. He was on the phone till midnight, but had to work at 5 a.m. Good point. Good point. But we kind of know that this whole phone call thing is going to be very interesting. Because I really truly believe he would have left. Maybe we've been right in part on the cell phone thing. What if he, when she called him, he's like, oh crap. And he said, hey, keep the phone lines open. Keep the phone lines open. She would have called him at 10. He would have arrived. If he took that route, and he really does know this route, and it saves him an hour. Like I said, I got to recreate it. I got to make sure that this is proper and sourced properly. So I don't want to say it's for sure. But somebody sent me a map that looks like a for sure map. I'm just saying. But you never know. You never know. I don't want to assume. So if I can recreate it, we're good to go. But if we can do that, guys, this will hit us the money right on the nail right on the head. Because if we can use this, and he took the 2-hour tour versus the 3.5-hour tour, like this one right here says 2 hours and 7 minutes. 2 hours and 7 minutes. Now, again, I've got to check it out. They say that Terry Lynn has already driven this, and it's legit. So if I can recreate it, we're good. This right here, if we can find that route, that means Chris would have been there right at midnight. He would have been there right around midnight, y'all. He really would have. And if he started speeding on that route, he could have probably gotten there sooner. Weird too. He was on the phone till midnight, but had to be at work at 5 a.m. We just answered that. Oh, the real Me Too gifted a membership. Guys, don't forget to go out, give me a thumbs up, and come back in here and tell us what number you are, where you're from, and of course the nightly temperature. It was just raining here in Bradenton about an hour ago. I did get my yard mowed, and then it rained on it. I'm very thankful for the rain, and I'm very thankful for a mowed yard. What else do we have? Sorry, guys. I'm just now getting acquainted with everybody in here. Lori says she's been pontoon stroke. Okay, so that's just going in with some of the stuff that you're going through. Can someone please tell me how we even know he was at work? I missed it. Michelle, great question. We learned he was at work because Chris told us he was at work. That is the one thing that he said, is that he was at work when he got the call. He was on the crane. At this time, it was the green shirt interview, because that is the only interview that many of us knew. We did not know he interviewed on Dutchess until much later. So we have to take that into consideration. He did say that he was at work. And at that time, he had already probably been through a couple rounds with law enforcement. So I'd have to think that that is true, accurate, and correct, that he actually did go to work. There's enough here that says he most likely he would have known not to change anything. You know what I'm saying? He would have known to go in. But man, having a bad attitude that day, so much to get yourself kicked off, that's really just another red flag for law enforcement, right? And again, I truly believe, because he's told us over and over and over again that he is the man of the house. He protects his family. It is his job, and I believe he did that. I truly believe he was protecting Katie. So a piece of me believes he came home. Now, here's one of the things that I did. I keep going, every time I start getting stumped, I got to tell you, when I'm looking at these cases, and I look at a lot of them, and every time I get stumped, I always tell myself, like the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. 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 Sometimes I just repeat that over and over and over again. What am I missing? It's got to be simpler than this. We're making it too complicated. Simplify, 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 simplify. Like that just rolls through my head because most people are simple. Whether you think it or not. Like even as adults, I'm pretty simple. I'm a pretty simple person. Okay? So, what would be simple? Simple. Play the tape through. Now, I don't know that this holds water. I've already threw the theory out. It doesn't appear that it holds water. But you know what? I'm throwing the theory out there. Regardless. So, if we believe Chris came back from Memphis that night, and we believe that unknown vehicle was an Infiniti, and that unknown Infiniti belonged to Kathy Bowersox. And we believe that we're dealing with weight that would need a strong man and a strong person to help, like Katie, which is also a strong woman. I feel like he would have came back, and he would have most likely taken as many back roads as he could to get off the interstates and away from the cameras, because that's what I would think. That's how I would think. And he would have gone over to his mother's house to get her vehicle, leaving his vehicle at his mom's, potentially. And then he would go to the house. So he would have had, if he didn't get there until 7, let's remove the 5:15 and say he needs to be there by 7. And we shaved 2 hours. We shaved basically 2 hours off his drive time, an hour coming and an hour going. Then he could have been in that car. And if he was driving that car, he would have had to take it back to his mother's to get his pickup truck to go to work. So, I keep applying, keep hearing, keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid, right? And let me see if I can pull this up. Well, let me pull up just one slide. Your computer, let me just pull up one slide. No, it will not. So let me open this up this way. I'll open it up a different way. So then I was thinking, and I already asked about this, and it doesn't seem like it holds water. I will say that. But again, I want to throw this out there. This right here, take this off. And let me take my banner off. Again, guys, don't forget to go out and thumb up. Tell us where you're from, temperature, and the number, and your number of your thumb up. Okay. So here we go, right here. This is behind, here's the Bowersox home. He would have came in here, and he would have pulled into the driveway. Okay? Right behind this back door is all of this. And I asked, has all of this been searched? And I was told that, by law enforcement, I was told that it's possible that they searched it, but either or, I was told that somebody went back there and searched in addition to, there's a pond or a lake or something somewhere hidden in all of this stuff that was also searched. That's a lot of area right there. Now, I don't know if he would have been there for a significant amount of time, because remember, Chris has a 17-hour tour that he took. And I'm just curious if they had the cadaver dogs back here that could determine if it's possible that this might have been a housing area until Chris could have gotten back. Because if we believe Chris came back, he would have had to go back to his mom's house, and right out the back door is a great hiding spot. I'm just saying. You know, I don't want to say too much, but it's a great hiding spot. So that's kind of where we are with this situation. And I keep looking at these maps and trying to make heads or tails of where would a simple, I feel like he's working, like we need to keep it simple. He's not going to work in places he's not feeling comfortable in. He's got, wherever he went, he has been before. Statistics tell us that. Statistics tell us that wherever he went, it's going to be a comfortable place that he knows that he can be alone. Without a doubt. And the only place I feel like he is that fluent with is Gallatin. For whatever reason. I just feel that. Now, I don't know if that's true. You know, this is just theorizing, trying to place this stuff on the map, trying to make the timeline work with the places on the map. But I still believe that we were screwed because of the 17-hour trip. Like, where did he go? That is the trip. That whatever he needed to finally get done was done. That 17-hour tour. Whatever, you know, somebody, one of the subscribers in here a while back, and I think it was like a month or two ago, sent me an email basically saying that they believe Chris took Sebastian back with him toward his work and put him somewhere until he could come back and finish the job, basically. And I'm starting to feel like that holds more water now than it has ever held. And I know by this time I probably already deleted that email, so I don't even know who said it. But I remember reading it. And I remember it being, and it wasn't just one audience. It was several of them. So I don't know. Has anyone checked the barn when they did the interview? KP said something about the barn CP made a noise. Which interview? Which interview? Oh, thank you, Tiffany. Tiffany gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. Thank you. God bless you. Why would he stay at work after calling? That is always, you know what, April? That has always bothered me. And I think we've even discussed that here on this channel several different times. About how I thought it was awfully suspect that because at this time, it was like we heard he didn't get kicked off the job until like 10:30, 11. And then I heard he was there like at 1. And then I had an opportunity to ask somebody that had knowledge. And they said, no, they were definitely there before 1. They just couldn't remember when. So it didn't bode with that time of him being kicked off at like 10:30, 11. So now with this email here about him being kicked off around 8:15, this really does more bode in line with what the time he would have gotten there. But even if he got there, even if he was kicked off the job at 8:15 and say he was pulling out of the driveway at say 8:30 to leave the site, where was he? It still doesn't math on him when he arrived at home. He went somewhere after he left work. Where did he go? Did he go back to his camper? And if so, why? They committed this crime in the perfect town because the police. I've been hearing a lot about the police, you know. People say like corrupt police. I don't think police are going to be too corrupt on a case like this. I mean, it's a kid. But they are screwing something up. I mean, I shouldn't say it like that. I mean, I keep playing this through. You know, they tore Sebastian's room apart that first day. Are we sure they didn't get forensics in his room? Are we absolutely sure? Because it really just doesn't make sense to me that they wouldn't have gotten forensics while they were in there tearing up the room. Are we sure? I mean, I know they haven't talked about it on any kind of TBI or Sumner County update or anything like that, but I guess I mean, I think Nick Barris told us that. Maybe that's why it's for sure, but I'm not sure. You get to wonder how much this person at his work was paid to say that. Interesting perspective. I don't know. You know, you got to, and be honest with you, Margie, you got to start. We all need to be starting it. That's why I source everything now. If I can't replicate it, source it, and create it myself, you know, then I'm not rolling with it. Like even this map, I'm showing the map because we did get a map that's all I was using it for. I still have to recreate that map and make sure it jives. But people said that Terry Lynn drove it, and that is just it's you know, cutting off an hour of his time. That's 2 hours. That would literally, like, I didn't even think of it like going there, but that at 2 hours to get him from Memphis to if this is true, from Memphis to Hendersonville in 2 hours, 2 hours and 7 minutes, man, he'd be right there by midnight when she needed to be to bed. When all of a sudden she has to sleep, and it just so happens to coincide when all the lights in the house went off. Was that okay? So Chris could sneak in undetected? Like, I've got a lot of questions, and like even that, I wish we had more of that that video, because we got that video of them leaving basically. When did they pull up? What time did that car get there? We don't know. Like, I'm interested in that. Like, when did the car get there? So I'm thinking, Chris, if he didn't start at the job until 7, he was in that car. I bet money that he was in that car. I bet money he's the one that drove off in that car. I bet money. If these things are true, he was in Hendersonville. So if he was in Hendersonville, I know pickup trucks, and I know that he is not getting from Memphis to Hendersonville and Hendersonville back to Memphis without stopping to get gas. There is not one vehicle out there that I think could make that drive round trip on one tank of gas. So we have a lead. There is a gas station that has Chris Proudfoot in it on some type of camera. I bet money on it. We need to find his route. But I think it's going to be the 2 hour route. And I bet you we're going to find out portions of this 2 hour route are off the beaten path. And I bet you it's off those beaten paths that we might want to consider searching. Oh, Salty Mama, thank you. God bless you for the gifted membership. Whoever got the gifted memberships tonight, please don't forget to say thank you. TBI and the police were mean. The neighbors were mean. The neighbors, and did not investigate the tips called in. I heard that. And somebody said that Bobby is being investigated. If they are, then somebody called in and said something about this, that, or the other, and now they're required to look into it. It'd be something stupid like that. Sebastian was reported as a runaway, so LE probably had no reason to consider forensics at the time. Exactly, Kathy. But see, this is right here, the policies and procedures. This is from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And this is law enforcement's policies and procedures for reporting of missing and abducted children. So they really should be following the directive of this. Now, that just because this, obviously the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children are a nonprofit organization that have kind of handled this for the federal government, the reporting aspect of it. But I got to tell you that this is not law. Law enforcement doesn't have to follow this. This is basically a guide, but it is best practices. And most law enforcement do follow this. But I found and there's also a federal law too that somebody sent me that we're going to be going over tomorrow night as well. And we're going to be talking about these things. So one of I items is specifically for autistic children. They have a whole directive on how to handle the autistic child. And one of the things is most definitely is securing that bedroom. Securing that bedroom, and it specifically says doing forensics in the child's room. And so for us to be here 4 months later and not have forensics done in that entire house, let alone not even in the child's room, is a problem for me. It should be a problem for anybody in that community, because that is not proper policing, if you ask me. And it makes me wonder why they are not doing it. I understand it costs money, but this is a 15-year-old boy that's been missing for 4 months. Spend the money if they haven't already. I'm going to keep saying that because we haven't heard from Eric Haddock in a really long time. So it is possible, since the last time we heard to now, it is possible that forensics could have been done. And we hope that they have been done, but we have no guarantees that they have. But I recommend everybody, instead of going to instead of you as the audience, sending people to social media for help in their missing children and getting sucked into these internet PIs, I really think every person should download this book. And if you ever have a friend or family that's going through this crisis, you send this book over to them immediately. I thought it was really good. It explains a lot. I think it's helpful information. It talks about, even the families getting liaisons to help talk. You want to use best practices. And I think that this really does best practices. And it'll also keep you knowledgeable. So if your law enforcement is not doing what they should be doing, you have read the book. You know that to ask them, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing this? It is very, 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 very important that law enforcement are following these procedures. Why? Because when it comes down to stuff like this, they're not being salmon and trying to fight against the flow. It's like all this stuff could have been taken and should have been collected at the very beginning of this case, because it's always harder to try to collect it later. We all know that. Oh, thank you, Michelle. God bless you guys. Where else are we here? Are you my go-to place? I lost my husband of 52 years, 7 months ago. Aw, Betty, I'm so sorry to hear that. On a crane at that. Getting back to that phone call, he's there. Everybody's saying, like, we're watching these cranes starting, and it doesn't seem like Chris would have been on his crane unless he was there 5:15, of course. But it doesn't look like Chris would be on his crane until about 7:30, having to walk up those flights of stairs. Those stairs have to be brutal. I mean, I looked up at how tall those things are. That's quite a hike, getting up there and inside that tower every day and climbing back down. I mean, that's wow, So if he was there at 7, I absolutely believe he would have had time to be at that house. And I absolutely believe he would have been one of the light sources at that house. Now, the question is, did Terry Bowersox go with him to help? Because some people believe Katie was too far behind him to help him with a package, so to speak. And somebody believes that brighter light was actually 2 lights instead of 1. Possibility, but we don't know for sure. The alibi, I think it was a call. I think when he realized what happened, he probably told her to keep the line open, so he could act like he was there. And I think he drove all the way back to Hendersonville without his phone. I think we might have been right about that if his phone did not leave, because somebody kept questioning about the phone and whether it had moved or whether it had stayed in one spot. And Chris refused to answer it, saying that it would cause speculation. And she called him out. She's like, well, it only cause speculation if the phone didn't move. If the phone didn't move. So I don't think he was thinking about the vehicles being tracked. And I really do believe he went to his mother's house because he wouldn't want anybody to see his truck in the neighborhood, because everybody knows his truck. There's hardly anybody that would probably recognize his mom's car from the neighborhood, unless they knew him personally, because from what I hear, not too many people go over to his house. So normal people probably wouldn't even have paid attention to that vehicle at all. It's so obvious that CP did not want Sebastian around his daughter, and around the time CP was getting, I know, it seems really convenient, you know. See, it does. I get it. It does seem so convenient. Tennessee reminds me of Ellie in Mexico, Aruba, etc., where they do the least and lie in certain missing person cases. Why though? Because they're being instructed. Okay, the reason why they're doing this is because TBI is telling them to do this. TBI is telling them, oh, you know, we've had experience with this and we've had experience with that. This is what you need to do. I think that's directives from TBI, honestly, and I think it's poor, because I never agree with any law enforcement blocking the public out. It is a horrible. You need to have a public relations officer, period. Not a newsman, an actual position where they handle these conversations. They handle the media. They handle and field all of our questions, you know? And they do press conferences and press releases and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff that really doesn't really go to the integrity of the investigation, they could tell us. But they're so scared somebody is going to send them some information that might help this case, apparently. I don't know. We need some military people to call in what they would do with that. And Maui girl, exactly. I have not gotten any emails from that. When I asked, you know, we need to have our military families kind of come forward and say, with your training, if you were put in a situation like this, what would you do? Where would you go? Where would you hide the package? And I haven't gotten any responses back, but you know what? Sometimes it takes a little time talking to your significant other when you're in the military. So I'm going to give it a little time. It's still out there. If anybody has military and you would like to speak to your military family or friends, the question is, and they can't say call 911. Okay, that's not an option. If they got a call from their significant other and they said that they had unalived somebody and they needed your help, and you had to take care of the package, what would you do? That's what I want to ask these military people and find out what their answers and responses are. They can't say call 911. They can't say do nothing. They have to actually deal with the package. I want them dealing with the package. What would they do? They have to deal with all of it. I want to see what kind of, you know, what the thought process would be. 5-15 could be an additional of guilt if phone lines was left open and running. Good point. No, because once you disconnect the call, only one person needs to disconnect the call for the call to end. And I bet you what we'll find out is Katie ended the call. And once that call ends, the other phone hangs up. BHB is killing me with the y'all. y'all. Well, it's like use. You know, what do you use? It's like people's. What do you want me to use? Y'all's is the shortest, sweetest way of talking to you. Y'all's. I don't know what a y'all's is, but it's you and you and you and you and you and you and you. Y'all's. But we ain't going my cousin Vinny and going Utes. Sir, what is a Ute? He said he woke her up off the couch at midnight. He came in the house at midnight. Told you those times meant something. Now we might have a travel time getting him home in 2 hours. She calls him right before 10. He was there. He was there at midnight to wake her up. She was probably just completely out of it. I don't know what was wrong with her. She must have. That had to have been beyond chaotic when he got there. She had to have been just flipping a wig. I don't know. I don't know. I think he was there. I really do. I think he was there. If we can get this 2-hour timeline matching up, we're done. We're done. He would have been there. So now I've got to find the gas station he pulled over at to fill up. He pulled at a gas station somewhere between Memphis and Hendersonville. Did Chris have access to the company trucks? I don't know. I've asked that same question. Whether he would have access to even a company phone. Like, is it possible he went over there, got a phone and a truck, and was able to call her on three-way? You know? So I don't know. I really don't. Within true crime, the unwritten rule is the most simple scenarios 90% of the time. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I keep coming back to, the path of least resistance. I feel like that 17, and I've always felt this from the beginning, but I thought he used his camper to store Sebastian in. But I always thought Sebastian was put somewhere first because of the 17-hour trip. Just like I always thought that with the phones, that the phones, that there was no way she was sleeping on the phone. I never believed the phone. I believe the phone call was made because he had to explain it. And that means law enforcement had asked him about it. So I do believe the phone call exists. However, I think we were on the right track to begin with, that was setting up the alibi for Chris. I think they left the open phone. But I always wanted to see if he grabbed a truck, like a work truck or a phone. But it looks like that I don't know if he could. It looks like that St. Jude's facility is locked up to the gills. I mean, that gate around that project, it's no joke. It's a legit gate. It's not a fence. I wonder if the videos that Mom, I wonder, I hope that they got video from the neighbors over there. If I go down that road and start knocking on doors and finding out nobody spoke to law enforcement, I'm going to lose. I will probably go off. I probably will. So I pray to God that law enforcement was up and down the Proudfoots home and collected some video evidence. But I heard that they were in there. So I really do believe law enforcement did cover that, because I heard that they searched. I talked to Terry Lynn. I haven't talked to her in a really long time personally, but I'm going to be out there in days. So I'll be seeing her personally and can do eyeball to eyeball stuff. But when I talked to her, she had indicated that they had searched Gallatin pretty well. But she also forewarned me about the police there. So apparently there's something with Tennessee police. I think that's the first and foremost of our problems in Tennessee is the corruption in the police department. And who's running these police departments and police outfits. I don't know that to be true. I don't want to, we know Ronnie Lawson, definitely. And that's the county for Summer Wells. But, I don't know Eric Craddock. And, so far, I don't see anything in Eric Craddock's past that makes me like side-eye him yet. I mean, I'm not really liking his policing with the lack of forensics. But again, that might be conjecture because they may have him done and we just not paying attention. If Chris is listening to the posts in chat, are we making it easy for him to come up with excuses? That's kind of the name of the game, though. We have to theorize in order to it's a cat and mouse game. But yeah, the answer is yes. But you know what? I believe in our law enforcement. I believe that our law enforcement is. I don't know what's going on with this one. That's my only problem. In my opinion, Chris puts Sebastian. Yeah, possibly. I was also thinking, you know what? This came into my my mind. You know, some of those hospitals have incinerators. And I just keep wondering, did he have access to the hospital in any way after hours or before hours? I mean, I don't want to think about it like that, but, you know, if it's possible or he knew about it, you know, he's in construction. He knows what's in these buildings. I don't know how much he knows. I don't, you know, I'd have to think that he has to read blueprints just like everybody else in construction. I don't know. So we're going to be doing this. I'm hopeful. Oops, I just passed somebody. Who's this? Misty. Does C have a buddy that has hunting cabin? I don't know. It doesn't sound like they had too many friends. I would probably look more in line with the family having a cabin more than a friend, because it just doesn't sound like they have really a whole lot of friends, you know, just from where I'm sitting. According to Kennedy Krieger, more than 35% of children with the autism who are in the last year. Really? Well, there was something that came out on bed crime stories, I think. I got some of my bed crime stories, and I got something on good Lord, Crime Stories Obsessed. Geez, Louise, Emma, our friend Emma, she comes in here. She has something that Chris had said to her. He kind of called into the show. Let me put that up. Let me pull that up real quick, and I'll let you guys listen to that. Hold on a second. So if you guys haven't heard it. Oh, it's TikTok. There it is. Okay, give me just a second.
You're live.
Awesome. Hey, I heard somebody saying that they saw Katie's mom or something with a kid. Is that really true?
It's difficult. That's what she said. I don't want to say too much on here without upsetting anybody that's listening, namely the person that just called in. But we were just questioning if there was anything, any confusion. But we are going to take it seriously and make sure the address, the details, everything she said is passed over to law enforcement. We're going to do that together when we finish on the call, so that we'll actually give them the call. They can listen to it themselves. What did you make of it?
I want to add this to that call then.
Yep.
Because you're talking to Chris, the stepfather of Sebastian Rogers
right
now.
Oh, hi.
So here's the funny thing. The thing that lady was after spewing.
Yeah.
Absolutely crap.
Okay.
That's the funny thing.
Right.
Absolutely.
Why does he feel?
Thanks for calling in.
Why, if something is crap, why does he feel the need to tell them? Why does he care? Why is he so invested in what the public has to say? You would think that he would not really give a crap whether it's he's calling in all day and night. This was all back in May. When he just couldn't handle the noose tightening. There was a lot of pressure going on behind the scenes. There was a lot of infighting with the family. There was, all the pressure from law enforcement, and he was trying to control the narrative. And it's anytime he wanted to pipe in, he would call people and he would be like, oh, well, this is Chris. Oh, well, this is Chris. And I got something to say. But it was never to advocate for his stepson. It was always to clear something up for self-preservation purposes for him or his wife. It has become a notable theme when it comes to Christopher Proudfoot. A very, very noticeable theme about how every single interview was always about him and Katie and how unfair they are being treated. Not one concern about what in the F is going on with Sebastian. And then we learned from Blue Eyes that Chris and Katie were told a while ago that their son is most likely not here. And you know what Katie does? She goes back to work. Jeez. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no worries. I
didn't want to upset her.
Get all these answers and they want to get stuff straight. Well, let's get stuff straight. Let's put this out here for everybody to understand.
Yeah.
See, when you have people like that called into your show and they say they have all this information, and when you ask the question, why didn't you call law enforcement? Her answer was, because my son didn't want me to.
Yeah, that's an
that
issue.
Right there's a red flag that is absolute BS.
But you've got to be.
And why would he think that we wouldn't know that? And why was he so invested in the argument? I never heard of missing runaway or think ran away, the parents especially. I don't think this kid ever, why would he run away? And not only that, but what do children typically do? I was reading some reports today, about children and child behavior when they're running away. And there's one thing that they say is that they give like these indicators long before they start running away. They start misbehaving. They tell a friend. They, threaten their parents. If you don't stop, I'm going to run away. There's things. They start hoarding money. They start hoarding supplies. There's clear things that indicate that they are preparing to run away. This one had none. None. No. Mm-mm. Not at all. All we've got is an audio of an officer stating when the call came in. We've never received the actual recording of a call, even though they told us that all calls that came in are recorded, including that particular call. I can tell nobody knew I was leaving my mom. I was always floored and devastated that things were going well, and literally, but my friends knew. Maybe not my mom, but my friends knew. I mean, your friends know because they're usually the ones that got to come scoop. Somebody's got to come scoop you. My friends knew. But did she tell anybody? That's the thing, is what they're saying is that you may not know, but somebody does. Somebody does. I don't believe, well, that's one thing that it seemed like Seth implied, is that if he did leave the house without shoes, it would have had to been a situation where he had no time to put shoes on. But with that call and this weird behavior from Chris and Katie, it's just not sitting right. I think about how much damage was done to Sebastian's body. A bad teen, me and my cousin used to think we were 20. I know, me too. Me too. We got ourselves in so much trouble. No shoes, no phone, no gaming system. A kid that runs away would have taken those. You're darn right. They would have taken something. This kid left with nothing. I have never known any child to run away from home with literally nothing. Hell, even when I ran away with nothing, just my backpack as I left from school, I snuck back in my house to steal my clothes. You don't just leave without nothing. Now at 15 in this day and age, barefoot, yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So we're still going down the road. We're getting a little bit closer to finding out truly when Chris Proudfoot was at work. We're going to keep going down this road until we find out definitively exactly where Chris was and what he was doing. I am going to try my absolute damnedest to find out what gas station he stopped at. He had to have stopped at a gas station at least once or twice. We don't know if his gas was filled up in his truck when he got the call. So he may have just preemptively pulled into the nearest gas station near the campground he was at. But I definitely know that he is not doing a round trip in that truck on one take of gas, at least not to the best of my knowledge. I feel like he would have had to stop for gas at least once. You were told by the Proudfoots that he left with nothing and barefoot. Keep believing them. Right. Yeah, right. because the boyfriend tells us the girl snuck, left the house with it. Wasn't that what's his face's excuse? What Brooks Hauk, didn't he say that his girlfriend walked out of the house in the middle of the night and left everything behind, including her son? He's behind bars right now, along with his 2 other accomplices. Just FYI, 2 other accomplices. Seems to be a theme with the Rogers name. I'm so glad I did. I don't know how. I was doing awful things, and I really had no reason other than mental health. Mine was my parents were going through a divorce. It was just, it was bad. Like I said, when it was really good in my household, it was amazing. But when it was really bad, it was really bad. I love my dad. He broke a lot of cycles in our family. He did better than his family. That's all that could be expected. There's just a lot of hurt and pain there between. My dad used to be my best friend. I used to ride on his work truck. I was riding on his work truck since I was 2 years old. I know a full trade, electrical work, which is very, very difficult. And I know that because of my father. I know how to change my brakes because of my father. I know how to do plumbing because of my father. I know how to use power equipment because of my father. I know I can build practically a house because of my father. But at some point, with everything, the stuff I witnessed as a kid, it wore on me and it wore on our relationship. And, one day I hope to have a good relationship with him. I don't know when that will come. I always hear time will cure everything. Sometimes I keep wondering, but we'll see. I can't make this step for him. I can only be here. So it is what it is. We all have our own path. We all have our own walk. Our families aren't perfect. Our parents aren't perfect. Do you ask me if my dad loves me? Absolutely no, 100% without a doubt in my mind. My father absolutely loves me. I haven't really seen my father in almost a decade, but I guarantee that man loves me. So it's like, I have to think of my own life, my own family, whenever, I'm looking at these families and people bashing an innocent father, over his every parent makes mistakes. Okay. Every parent does. It doesn't mean that they don't love their kids. Even ones that do horrible things to their kids still love their kids. It's just an effed up love because they most likely don't even know what love is. It's just a repetitive cycle that just keeps going and going. So, for me, it could have been that way in my life, but it was broken for me. I had a lot of problems with it, but, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm just fine. I'm all right. I'm all right. Hey, Cheeky, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well tonight. How's your foot? Children can inherit their parents. Yeah, their genes. I always heard it was that boys are predominantly get genes from their father. I don't know if that's accurate. I heard that a long time ago, and I just kind of remember taking it as true. So it must have been something. I had to have learned it in school or schooling of something. I don't keep things like that in my head locked away forever for no reason. I don't think my autistic son would ever leave without it. Yeah, like I said, that it really was the parents that finally made me realize this kid didn't walk out the door. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Chris is always telling people to call LE so Chris's friend from LE can take the call and sweep the tips under the rug. Yeah, it's possible, but I don't think anybody's going to. This is a kid. I don't think anybody's going to do that. And you know what? To be honest with you, I did speak with a major on the case, and I can tell. When I talked to, I can tell that this is no laughing matter for them. At least for that detective, they're taking this very, very seriously. They're taking this entire case very, very seriously. So I there's like a piece of me that feels like all of this smoke and mirrors is not really for us. It's really for the perpetrators, if you ask me. Doesn't seem like a runaway type of kid. He's not. I think that's the one notable thing that's why I remember when Seth was on the interview, one of the things he said, he goes, Katie knows I think that story's bullshit. So he's already let her know. You know, he's already let her know he thought that story was bullshit. That's the father of this kid that you know, basically raised him. You know, remember Katie went to the Navy. It was Seth and Sebastian. Seth and Sebastian up until the divorce. And when they split up, he couldn't afford a place to live. He was basically homeless. He was lucky to have gotten the joint custody, which again solidifies that the crap that everybody was reading online, there is no way a judge would have given that man joint custody if those allegations were founded in any way, stretch of the imagination. They would have given her full custody if those allegations were founded, especially with him being homeless, and they still gave him temporary custody. That tells me that whatever was being passed around from those court documents were absolutely 100% not founded within that court. So, sup, rapper, it's nice to see you. We're closing out. I'm done with my day. I take a shower, and I was letting my hair dry while we did the show. So now my hair is all dry, and I'm ready to call it a night. It's been a long day, and I didn't get the best sleep last night. I was up and down all night, and I know what it is. Probably the same problem that I have tonight. It's probably too much espresso jolting through my blood vessels at freaking 9 o'clock at night. I'm a latte away from happiness. You guys love BHB a latte. Yay! A sweet misery in the house. It's nice to see you, sweet. We're kind of out. I just wanted to go through. If you guys received your gift membership, please tell the person that gave you your gift membership thank you. And for those beautiful ladies, thank you so much for your wonderful contribution with those gift memberships. And as always, Misty, thank you. Very interesting. The freezer. I'm interested in that too. I'm interested in a lot. But I got to tell you guys, it's been very, very beneficial in this case. The people here on YouTube as well as TikTok and getting these things out to me when I come here and I say, you know, this is what I'm looking for. A lot of people give me some good ideas, even some stuff I'm not looking at or looking for. And I'm like, man, we didn't think about that. Let's explore this. You know, I get constantly all kinds of emails. And there's just some people that don't want to be, you know, beat up because there's mean people out here on the streets, and I keep their names confidential. So, you know, feel free to express your opinion by email. It's truly confidential. And as you see, I go through a lot of emails. I never tell anybody's name unless they give me permission to give their name. So you never have to worry about feeling embarrassed or thrown under the bus. You never know. You might have a question that everybody else has that hasn't answered it. So never feel like a question is too stupid. The only questions that are ever too stupid for me, and the only ones I dog, are the ones that are rude, snarky, and mean. Kind of like that asshole right there. You can't get any more perfect timing than that, right? People that have no earthly idea what the heck they're doing. And I'm hearing people talking about these cases and talking about evidence. They are so wrong about everything. And I look at them and I'm just listening to all these people, just listening to their stuff. And it's like, they're wrong. Guys, they're wrong. That's all I got to say. All right, guys, have a great night. I love you and see you tomorrow. I love you tomorrow. It's only a day away. Bye.